Good evening and welcome to SCTV, Simpson College's first student-run newscast. As always, I'm Jake Brend.
And I'm Liv Allen. Thank you all for tuning in.
Last week, the Simpson Athletic Department made the announcement that men's volleyball is coming to Simpson College in the spring of 2023.
There's already interest from the current student body for a booming sport in Iowa. SCTV's Ethan Humble has more.
Bumping, setting, and spiking, Team USA sure knows their way around volleyball. But so does Simpson College, as men's volleyball is now the most recent addition to Simpson varsity athletics. Meet first-year football player Max Robinson.
I played volleyball my senior year of high school, and I was kind of like deciding because I had the opportunities to go play some places, but I decided I was just going to stick with football because it's something I've been doing a lot longer.
Despite not having the chance to showcase his volleyball talent this year, Robinson is committed to playing in the team's inaugural spring 2023 season under the Storm's head women's volleyball coach, KK Pelea.
Because there's a couple guys that have reached out, hey, what does it take to be on the team? So it's kind of cool to get Simpson guys interested as well, maybe other athletes that play here in other sports to give them another opportunity to play for a Simpson squad.
And taken straight from Storm middle hitter Aaliyah Johnson, Coach KK can make great volleyball players out of raw athleticism.
As long as you're working hard on it, you can develop skill pretty fast. And a lot of, I know myself, I'm not very skilled. I wasn't taught skills from my coaches, so I'm just naturally athletic, and that's what's kind of got me here. So if you're just naturally athletic, I know KK can bring you to a level of play where you will have the skills to do what you need.
There's no denying there's plenty of excitement for the program to kick off, as over 60% of voters on a Simpsonian Twitter poll said they're looking forward to the team's debut.
And it's a lot of fun. It's looked at as a sport that you've really only seen girls and women playing growing up, but if you do it, I say just give it a try because it's a lot of fun just to hit the ball hard and all that stuff, and it's a really cool sport once it's played correctly in the right way.
For SCTV, Ethan Humble.
Thanks, Ethan. I know that I had a blast watching men's volleyball this year at the Olympics. Those guys can jump.
Simpson College has been getting a whole lot stronger since a certain group started a club in the weight room. Jake has more.
Step into the bottom level of the Simpson College weight room any night of the week at 6:30, and you will find a lot of iron being pumped. The group lifting is one of Simpson's newest and fastest growing organizations, the Powerlifting Club.
It's just trying to, be the strongest human being you can.
Our main goal really is to promote fitness, health and fitness in a different way. If they've been lifting, their whole life, or in sports, this is just a different way to come in and get active, be healthy.
The group has 5 officers: Lucas Volf, Keaton Bacam, Jacob Volf, Tanner Sink, and Brennan Lynn. They challenge each other in the gym, and some live together on campus.
Being able to lift with other people that share the same interests kind of pushes me to be better. It gives some type of I guess you could say a competitive aspect to the powerlifting club.
Competing amongst each other is a good place to start, but the program has bigger goals they'd like to reach. They want to be able to place at the national level.
There's some meets in Des Moines. We're going to try to go watch here in the fall, and then in the spring, if people do want to compete, we're going to either have them go to the Des Moines if there is some, or somewhere close, just try to get them some exposure.
I want to go to a couple meets with the team and maybe compete in a couple of them, maybe place.
The club has 130 participants, 90 males, 40 females, some experts, some beginners, and some future coaches.
Personally, I want to be a strength coach, so I think the sport of powerlifting is going to change throughout the years, and it's going to help me in my future career.
They help with anything I need, especially if I'm doing certain sets that I don't know how to do yet. They'll definitely help.
Volf wants people to set aside stereotypes and try the club out, even if it's not for everyone.
I'd say just come try it out. There is this big stereotype between powerlifting and big, bulky, steroid men, and that's not what we got here. We're just trying to have fun, lift a lot of weight, and just support each other.
For SCTV, Jake Brend.
It's great to see Simpson students expressing their passions in such a healthy way.
I can't believe how much weight they were lifting. But a place that I fit in more than a gym is La Casa. La Casa is a Mexican restaurant on North Jefferson Way, and is a staple to the Simpson College experience.
But La Casa won't be La Casa for much longer. SCTV's Sophie Reese has more.
A well-known restaurant for all Simpson students is undergoing a rebranding. La Casa will now be Fiesta Jalapeno. I talked to a few students to get their opinion on the name change.
It feels weird. It's like always been Casa, and Fiesta Jalapenos just doesn't roll off the tongue the same way that Casa does.
Fiesta Jalapeno, it's a good name. It's not La Casa, it doesn't say the home like it should, but same people are there. It still should be a good time. Casa was always fun for college kids, for families, so I think just a rebrand is good, and it's a signal that times are changing, but we don't have to change with the times.
In a Twitter poll done by the Simpsonian, 67% of voters said that they did not like the name. I spoke with students to see if they would still attend despite the name change.
No, definitely not. I mean, ever since the ownership last year, they got rid of a lot of specials, a lot of deals on Monday. Prices have gone up, and I understand coming from a restaurant industry, you know, that's kind of what my parents do as well, how prices need to go up, but to the rate that they went up here, it's something, in my opinion, quite ludicrous.
Yeah, I'll try it out and see how it is and see how their new food is, but I don't think it'll be the same.
Reporting for SCTV, I'm Sophie Reese.
It'll take a bit of getting used to, but I'm hopeful Fiesta Jalapeno will continue one of many Simpson students' favorite traditions, Marg Monday.
Another Simpson staple is Jenna Taylor. Just a couple weeks ago, she was named to the NCAA list of nominees for NCAA Woman of the Year. Now she's made the watch list for the top 30, and we caught up with her on campus.
I was kind of shocked at first this summer when Zach talked to me about the nomination a little bit. He said that there were like 500 plus people that get nominated, so I wasn't really thinking anything of it when I kind of threw my hat in the ring, I guess. It's definitely a humbling feeling. Definitely not an individual award either. I think it speaks to the culture that the women's basketball team has, the athletic department, and just the school in general. They push us to be involved in lots of different things, not just basketball. So I was able to be involved in residence life and the Center for Academic Resources and kind of do those things as well.
Jenna is very deserving of it no matter what happens.
With wins over Nebraska Westland, Luther, and Central, the women's volleyball team is off to its best conference start since 2009, when the team won the Iowa Intercollegiate Athletic Conference.
The Storm moved to a 3-0 and a thrilling win over Central in 4 sets. Check out the clinching play from Simpson Athletics. A great start for the women's volleyball team, and I'm hopeful that they can repeat what they did on the 2009 team.
More history was made this weekend as the men's soccer team traveled to Dubuque to take on Loras, a place that they haven't won in 20 years. They trailed by 1 late, but an equalizer from Enrique Idaheen in the 85th minute brought this one down to the wire.
Check out Ronaldo Ordaz Zambrano's game-winning goal in the Rock Bowl.
Ten, 9, 8, 6, 5, 3, 2.
I wanted to talk a bit about Pandora today. Now, I'm not talking about Greek mythology, and I'm also not talking about the music streaming service. I'm talking about the Papers. The International Consortium of Investigative Journalists, or ICIJ, conducted a massive global investigation known as the Pandora Papers, which uncovered approximately 12 million documents detailing the shady and corrupt financial dealings of the uber-rich. The Pandora Papers is truly a landmark case of investigative journalism. More than 600 journalists worldwide gathered and organized these files, resulting in the largest trove of leaked financial data exposing tax haven secrecy in history. The papers, which contained documents, images, emails, and spreadsheets, shed a harsh light on the hidden world of global offshore economy, revealing many cases of money laundering, tax avoidance, tax havens, hidden wealth, and other types of financial loopholes used to keep the rich, well, rich. For the viewers who may be unfamiliar with some of these terms, tax havens are essentially any country that allows organizations and individuals to pay lower tax rates than they would in their native countries. The Cayman Islands is a rather famous example of this because they have a 0% corporate tax rate. Companies or people will book their profits in the tax haven, therefore only having to pay the tax rates of said haven, as opposed to the country where their sales or operations actually took place. The concept of tax avoidance via offshore havens is not new in the world of big figures. In fact, it's incredibly common. The Pandora Papers supports this claim, revealing 29,000 offshore accounts, some of those belonging to over 130 members of the Forbes billionaire list, in addition to hundreds of high-profile public officials in over 90 countries. Now, it is important to note that tax havens are technically legal, but it is widely considered unethical. Why? Let's put it into perspective. Though it's difficult to confirm, there is an estimated $5.6 trillion to $32 trillion in hidden offshore money, according to the ICIJ. Now, according to the International Monetary Fund, tax havens cost worldwide governments up to $600 billion in lost taxes each year. Now, I challenge viewers to shift from what likely may be a capitalist mindset into one more focused on collectivization. Don't worry, folks. My goal here is not to indoctrinate. I'm simply trying to put this into perspective. Ms. Lakshmi Kumar from the U.S. think tank Global Financial Integrity believes this issue is detrimental to the rest of society. She is quoted in saying, "The ability to hide money has a direct impact on our life. It affects your children's access to education, access to health, and access to a home. This issue gets worse once you consider our hegemonic society, one where the vast majority of media we consume is monopolized and controlled by only 6 companies. A society where these billion-dollar people and corporations spend lots of time and money in order to influence policies and politicians, often ones that benefit themselves, under the BS guise of philanthropy." What I'm trying to say is what we are seeing, which is shady, unethical hoarding of wealth, has real consequences, one that misuses resources and furthers inequality within our society. Again, not every case exposed in the Pandora Papers was technically illegal. There are some legitimate reasons to store money or assets in offshore accounts, but in my opinion, the magnitude of these leaks proves that elites are grossly misusing these loopholes. The taxes that these people didn't pay could have been money used to help chip away at the many, many inequities present within our society. Inequities that are partially facilitated by this kind of behavior. Call it a consequence of capitalism, call it individual greed, you can honestly call it whatever you want. I just hope you're not calling it surprising. Why would the 1%, aka the richest of the rich, really care to be held accountable to a society that they are so incredibly disconnected from? The harsh reality is that they probably don't. But that doesn't mean we shouldn't try. These people need to be held accountable. We need to stir away from traditional, often manufactured views on wealth. We need to consider policies that perhaps set stricter boundaries around tax avoidance methods. If you're not a fan of any of the ideas I just listed, just keep this in mind. Every dollar in tax money that these people pocket is another that might unduly come out of your own. And the difference is you don't have a billion-dollar cushion. I'm Liv Allen, and that's my take.
Now for some more sports scores from the weekend. 4 different teams made the trip to Dubuque this weekend. The football team hung around but falls to 0-5 in a 21-13 loss to Loras. The women's tennis team played against the in-city rivals and split to both teams, losing to Loras but beating Dubuque. The women's soccer team ran into the undefeated Dewhawks and lost 3-0, while the cross-country teams ran in the Brisbane-Lundin Invite over the weekend. The men took home 5th out of 24 teams, while Spencer Moon finished 4th and ran a career-best race. The women finished 8th out of 21 teams, while Kat Luck ran a career best race and finished 20th.
That's all the news for this week, and one more episode until fall break.
Until then, you stay classy, Simpson.